Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sydney. Today we're going to be chatting about all the books that are on the very top of my 2024 TBR. I have quite a stack sitting over here. It's a little bit haphazard. It's kind of stressing me out. In this video, for the most part, I'm going to try to keep it to the books that I physically own here on my shelves. I might mention a couple 2024 releases, but if you saw the video I most recently posted where I talked about my most anticipated winter book releases, you can also assume that those are on this list too. But let's get into this list of books that are on my physical TBR that I'm most excited about. I tried to pull at least one book from every genre that I own, and we're gonna start with fantasy. The first book is Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. If you know me, then you know that for whatever reason, I've been collecting the old editions of Robin Hobb books because I just am obsessed with the covers. I think they're so fun. And I think it's time I actually try to read one of the books. And I've heard that the best place to start is Assassin's Apprentice. I know absolutely nothing regarding the plot of any of Robin Hobb's books. All I know is that when I hear someone talking about Robin Hobb, it makes me want to delve into her stories. They get really invested in the plot, the characters, and the lush world. Like, I just want to experience it. I think this is the year, and I'm really excited for it. The next one I want to talk about, and you've probably noticed there's a couple books missing from behind my head, and that is Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas. I'm currently doing the tandem read of Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn, and this is the conclusion, the finale of the Throne of Glass series. So I will be finishing this early January. That is the hope, at least, because another anticipated book for 2024 obviously is Crescent City Book 3, which is House of Flame and Shadow. But I want to finish this series before I get to that one. I also want to reread the second book, House of Sky and Breath. So we'll see when I end up actually reading House of Flame and Shadow, but regardless, I need to finish this one first. So this is high up on my TBR for sure. Next, though, is a series that I am debatably most excited about, and that is the Of Blood and Bone series by John Gwynne. Book 1 is A Time of Dread. Book 2 is A Time of Blood, and then book 3 is A Time of Courage. Ashley gifted me the first book, and Raquel gifted me both of these two books recently, and I just couldn't be more excited. I could not be more excited about this series. Y'all know that my favorite book series is The Faithful and the Fallen by John Gwynne, and this series is taking place 100 years or so. I don't remember the exact number, but I'm pretty sure it's 100 years after The Faithful and the Fallen concluded. So we're getting some of the same characters and a lot of new characters, but the same world. And I don't think I can like adequately tell you how excited I am for that. Every single book in The Faithful and the Fallen was like a 5-star read for me. I just think that he's a mastermind. I'm so excited to read not only just more books by him, but another series in the same world where I can just like bask in the glory a little bit longer. So I'm really excited about these. I'm going to talk about one more fantasy book. I tried to keep the books within the genre lists small so that I could talk about multiple genres. So the last one in the fantasy category is The Will of the Many by James Islington. This is book 1 in the Hierarchy series, and it's basically following a main character who is living under a false identity to get into this school. And it says, I tell them that once I graduate, I will gladly join the rest of civilized society in allowing my strength, my drive, and my focus that they call the will to be leached away and added to the power of those above me, as millions already do. But the truth is that I've been sent to the academy to find answers, to solve a murder, and to search for an ancient weapon, to uncover secrets that may tear the Republic apart, and that I will never, ever cede my will to the empire that executed my family. To survive, though, I will still have to rise through the ranks and smile and make friends and pretend to be one of them. Because if I cannot, then those who want to control me, who know my real name, will no longer have any use for me. And if the hierarchy finds out who I truly am, they will kill me. Like, it sounds so good, and I'm so excited to get to it next year. Okay, now a couple like general fiction books that I want to get to early. One is Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. This book won the Pulitzer Prize. It won the Women's Prize for Best in Fiction, and quite a few of my patrons actually told me that they think I would really like it, so I am listening. All I really know about this book is that it follows a young boy named Demon who was born to a single mother in a double-wide trailer in like the really rural parts of the Appalachia, and it's basically just following him growing up, facing troubles, overcoming, learning, you know, the sort of like coming of age sort of book where we are just really getting to know the main character. And I really love books like that, so I do think that this could be a winner for me, and I'm really excited to read it. Next is Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. I can't really believe that I haven't read this book yet. I've loved every single thing I read by her, and I just know that I have a really high chance of loving this one too. This book is about the story of June and Athena, and June witnesses Athena's like tragic death and decides to steal her manuscript. I think they're both writers. Yes, and Athena is like the literary darling, and June is like a literally nobody. So when she witnesses Athena's tragic death, she takes the almost finished unfinished manuscript that Athena was writing and publishes it as her own. And not only is that messed up, but she's also changing her like whole identity, letting her literary agent change her name to Juniper Song and also adopt like a culturally ambiguous author photo to match the story that she's stealing. And from what I've heard, there's actually some scenes in here that get a little bit like weird and creepy on top of all of these really important conversations. So it obviously sounds like it could be a really big win for me. Okay, another one that you might not expect. All right, you won't expect this one. It's a historical fiction. I don't think I read a single historical fiction in the year of our Lord 2023. But historically, whenever I have read a historical fiction, I have really enjoyed it. I feel like most of them are very character driven. You really get to know the characters and, you know, the trials and tribulations of everything that's going on within the world at that time in the story. So I feel like I should dabble a little bit more. That's why this year I want to try to read definitely a Kristen Hanna book. Here's The Nightingale. This is a potential. There's also The Rose Code by Kate Quinn and also The End of August by Yu Miri. All of these are fair game. I think that I need to try at least these. These are the three that I think I'm most excited about. So I'm definitely going to put these within the list of my top of 2024 TBR because even though I don't read historical fiction a lot, I really do think that I could enjoy these books. So I need to just try them. Now, in terms of romance and I have a bit of a strained relationship right now because the last two books I read that were actually for a vlog coming out on this Friday were romance and they were just not that great. So I don't even want to pick any romance off my shelf right now. The only one that I'll mention here is Tia Williams' new release that's coming out in 2024 and it's Love Song for Ricky Wilde. I talked about it in my winter release video and I'm just really excited about it. I loved 7 Days in June and I could only imagine that this book is going to do the same things and tug at my heartstrings the way that 7 Days in June did. So I'm really excited about this one. That's the one I'm gonna mention for romance. Oh, okay. And I'll say Funny Story by Emily Henry. Obviously. I'm pretty sure Funny Story comes out in April, so I haven't talked about it on my channel yet, but obviously Funny Story by Emily Henry, I'm also really excited about. It's like a roommate forced proximity sort of romance, and I just eat up Emily Henry's banter every single time. It's so good, so funny, and I love the like emotional depth that she's also trying to play with a little bit more these days, so I'm also really excited for that one, obviously. Okay, so now let's dip into sci-fi a little bit. At the top of my sci-fi list is definitely Chain Gang All-Stars by Nana Kwame Adjei-Brenyah. The little blurb on the inside of the dust jacket says it perfectly. It's about two top women gladiators fighting for their freedom within a depraved private prison system not so far removed from America's own. And from what I understand, I think this is like televised for like all of America to see. I don't know if it's actually America, but like the world. It's like whatever world this is taking place in, these battles to the death are televised. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe the two main characters that we're following in this book are also romantically involved. So that obviously just adds even more depth within the characters and the plot. And I have heard such great things about it. So it's definitely at the top of my sci-fi list. Then is one that I really do think it could get a 5-star from me. And that is Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. This book was on Goodreads Choice Awards for Sci-Fi. I think it made it even to the second round last year. And this is about our main character Tova, whose husband has died and her son also disappeared mysteriously on a boat over 30 years ago. And she's begun working the night shift at this local aquarium. And this story is about her relationship with Marcellus, the large Pacific octopus that is living within the aquarium. And if I'm not mistaken, we get actual point of view from Marcellus as well as Tova. And I'm pretty sure that Marcellus like helps her figure out what happened to her son. Another thing about me is that I love books that involve water, even though I'm terrified of the sea. I love reading about it. And I really do think that this one has a lot of intrigue for me and what I love to read about. So I want to put it up on the top of my 2024 physical TBR for sure. The last one in sci-fi is one so that I can continue and finish this series, which is Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. I am on Cytonic, which is book 3. I will have to read sort of a summary of book 2 at the very least, just to kind of bring me back to speed on what's happening. But the final book 4 has come out and I really want to read that one. I think that that one is going to be one of my favorites of the series because I loved book 1, didn't really love book 2. That's why I haven't continued yet. But from interviews I've seen with Brandy Sandy, I think that I have a really high chance of loving book 4. So that being said, I want to read book 3 so that I can continue and then finish the series. I'm honestly just so excited to be back with Spensa, our main character, not to mention Doomslug and Mbot. Love this cast of characters. The next category is thriller and horror, and I'm not choosing like a pure like mystery thriller because I like to choose those at random. Like whatever feels good in the moment, that's the one that I would pick. But in horror, I have been talking about this book for like 2 years. I've gotten about like 75 pages into this book, actually on audio on the way home from my bachelorette trip in 2022, and I was loving it, and I just still haven't picked it up. So I need to start it over and finish it through in 2024, and that is A Cosmology of Monsters by Sean Hamill. I was loving this book, and I told Caleb that I think he would really like it too, so I was waiting until we would read it together, but I think I just need to stop waiting. I think I just need to read it, and then maybe have him read it as well. Or we could maybe read it for a Weird Words segment next year, or let me know what you guys think about that, because it was a great mix of like pretentious, heady, weird, scary, atmospheric. I was having a lovely time. So I actually need to read it in 2024. Mark my words. I could put a classic on this list, but I don't really want to like do that to myself. If I get the hankering to read a classic book, it will probably be Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. No, I haven't read Jane Austen before, and I know that there's going to be people in the comments saying like, that's illegal, you have to be reading it, and I will when I want to. So if I wanted to read a classic, it would probably be that one. All right, let's move on. But the last category would be like nonfiction. I have 2 books here that I hope to get to for sure. And this one is They Can't Kill Us Until They Kill Us by Hanif Abdurraqib. I don't really know much about it, but I do know that it's one of my friend Nathan's, like one of his favorite books. Plus the very first chapter involves Chance the Rapper, who I absolutely adore. So it has a lot going for it already. I really do want to get to this one this year. Likewise, I want to get to The Anthropocene Reviewed by John Green. And for living in the same city as John Green, I think it's awful that I really haven't read from him. So this one is a bunch of essays, I believe, and it says it's funny, complex, and rich with detail. The reviews chart the contradictions of contemporary humanity. As a species, we are both far too powerful and not nearly powerful enough, a paradox that came into sharp focus as we faced a global pandemic that's both separated us and bound us together. I think that it's going to be really impactful. Like, if it makes me laugh and cry, I think that it could get 5 stars for me. So I'm gonna put it on this list. Man, there are so many books that I really do want to get to this next year. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm doing a reading vlog right now that is going to come out this next Friday. I'm about to go film the next portion of that vlog, which is going to involve these books, and making this stack made me really excited for all of these. So maybe these are on this list too. Plus, I just recently got these books that I'm really excited about, so these might be on that list too. Not to mention more fantasy series like Red Rising, the 5th season. Oh, the sequel to Silver Under Nightfall is definitely on this list. I really want to finish that duology. And the 3rd book in the Children of Blood and Bone series is finally coming out, and that series is absolutely phenomenal. Wow, I just got so excited. I'd love to continue the Crown of Feathers series by Nikki Palpretto. I loved this first one. You know, I could keep going. Of course, there are so many books that I really want to get to. So all the ones that I have even vaguely mentioned, they're on this list. And probably more, you know? So these are a few of the books I really want to get to in 2024. Down in the comments, let me know some of the books that you are most excited to read, whether they're old or new. I would love to know. If you don't know what else to say, then leave me the book stack emoji, the classic endless book stack emoji down below in the comments. And while you're down there, don't forget to subscribe and like the video. I always appreciate your support. And of course, be kind to one another and happy reading. Bye.